All right, let's really dig into this one. Imagine a nation, just incredibly diverse, vibrant, standing right on the edge of its biggest celebration yet. A golden jubilee. We're talking half a century of independence. We're talking about Papua New Guinea and their upcoming 50th anniversary. Well, it looks like it's going to be massive.
It really does. A huge moment.
So our mission today really is to go beyond just the headlines. We want to explore the sheer scale of these celebrations and unpack the official stories, the narratives the government's putting out there.
Right.
But also, crucially, get into some of the fascinating nuances, the conversations happening underneath it all, because this is a big deal for such a young, incredibly diverse country.
It absolutely is.
We've basically pulled together a whole stack of stuff.
Yeah.
Official government announcements, bits from national news outlets, tourism authority insights. Think of this as like your shortcut. We want you to understand not just what's happening, but really why it matters, how it's being framed, and some of the complexities too.
And it's such a compelling moment to look at. A golden jubilee for any nation it's profound. It's a time for looking inward, solidifying that national identity, reflecting on the journey. But for PNG, think about it, over 800 languages spoken across incredibly varied terrain.
Staggering.
It is. So reaching this 50-year mark as one independent state, that's a huge achievement in itself. It says so much about the resilience of the people and, frankly, the ongoing work of building a nation. And the level of planning going into this, it just underlines how important they see this.
You mentioned resilience and nation building, and those themes feel like they're woven right through this whole thing. Because the planning, look, this isn't just a couple of parties on one day. Right. Not at all.
No, far from it.
This is genuinely a massive nationwide effort. It actually spans an entire year.
The full year.
Yeah, the Golden Jubilee officially kicks off September 16th, 2025. It runs right through until September 15th, 2026.
Wow.
And just for the main anniversary weekend, the government's already gazetted public holidays September 15th, 16th, and 17th, 2025. So a long weekend right there.
Making it accessible for people to participate.
Exactly. And it already has this powerful official theme and logo. Celebrate our history, inspire our future. That was launched at Parliament House back on January 30th this year. It feels very deliberate, very strategic.
Oh, absolutely. A year-long program combined with a strong unifying theme like that for a country like PNG, it's strategically brilliant, really. Just think about the logistics needed to connect, 800 plus language groups across jungles, mountains, islands.
Boggles the mind.
Right. So a single day event just in Port Moresby, that would leave out huge parts of the population. This long timeline allows for celebrations everywhere, allows for real engagement across all 22 provinces. It's more than just parties. It's a conscious effort to weave this national story together.
Shared story.
Exactly. A story that hopefully resonates from the capital right out to the smallest, most remote village. It helps build that shared ownership. And, from a tourism angle, it gives visitors a much longer window to come and see different cultures at different times.
That inclusivity reaching everywhere, that really feels central, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, okay, let's zero in on some specifics. What's actually planned, starting maybe with the capital, Port Moresby?
Okay, Port Moresby. Yeah, the plans there are pretty extensive. They're talking a week-long festival, and that includes a big Golden Jubilee parade, apparently showcasing all the different provincial cultures.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, plus major concerts, big fireworks display, the usual grand stuff, but amplified. And the symbolic heart of it, no doubt, will be the flag-raising ceremony on September 16th itself. A really poignant moment, I imagine.
Definitely.
Followed by a state dinner for visiting international leaders. So these events, they're not just for PNG, they're very much about projecting PNG onto the world stage.
That makes total sense. Those cultural showcases especially, what a powerful way to celebrate the country's unique identity. What message do you think that, and the state dinner, what are they trying to send out to the world?
Well, the focus on the provincial cultural showcases is really key, I think. It signals that PNG's strength comes from its diversity, not despite it. They're not trying to flatten it out.
Celebrating the differences.
Exactly. Each dance, each costume, each song tells a piece of the story, and together they make up this incredible national tapestry. The state dinner, though, that's pure diplomacy. It's PNG saying, look, we're mature, we're stable, we're open for business, we're ready to engage.
Right.
It's a statement of confidence, showing off cultural richness while also saying, we have our place in the world as a sovereign nation.
So projecting internal unity, but also external confidence.
Okay.
But, like you said, it can't just be Port Moresby. How are they making sure this really is nationwide?
And that's where the year-long thing really comes into its own. The government has basically put out a call asking provinces and districts to run their own events.
Decentralizing it.
Precisely. Their own cultural festivals, local sports competitions, and, interestingly, youth competitions, art, writing, innovation, getting the next generation involved. There's also this big push for showcases themed around 50 years of building PNG communities.
What does that entail?
Well, the idea seems to be highlighting local achievements. Community projects, grassroots efforts that have built the nation from the ground up over 50 years. Imagine, villages celebrating their local school or a clinic or some road built by everyone working together. It's about fostering pride right at the local level.
That feels really empowering.
Yeah.
And connecting those local stories to the bigger national one.
Exactly.
Integrating them.
But now, something else that stood out in the sources, quite unique really, is the big spiritual dimension woven into all this. Can you talk about that? What does that tell us?
Yeah, that integration of spiritual and religious elements is very distinctive. It reflects just how deeply faith runs in PNG society. The sources mention a whole month of prayer and repentance planned for August, culminating in National Repentance Day on August 26th. A whole month.
Yes. And it's not just, a symbolic nod. It's presented as an explicit call for the nation to reflect, to seek spiritual renewal, which is quite powerful.
It really is.
And then there's this other really significant day, the PNG Bougainville Day of Reconciliation on August 30th.
Right. That's huge, considering the history there.
Absolutely huge. I mean, the Bougainville conflict was a devastating decade-long civil war. It ended with a peace agreement, and more recently, that referendum where Bougainvillians voted overwhelmingly for independence. So having this specific day for reconciliation, it's a profound acknowledgement of the need for healing, for unity, especially as the nation grapples with that legacy while trying to move forward together.
Wow.
And beyond those specific dates, churches are apparently planning broader Jubilee activities right through into September 2026. Plus, big annual events like the Goroka Show, the Rabol Frangipani Festival, they're being deliberately tied into the anniversary celebrations too, making them extra special this time around.
That mix. The secular celebration, the deep spiritual reflection, and then this specific day for reconciliation, especially around Bougainville. It gives such a layered view of nation building. It makes you think, what does it signify when a country puts spiritual reflection and reconciliation right at the heart of its independence party, given that history you just touched on?
It raises a really fundamental point, doesn't it, about how complex national unity actually is. For PNG, it seems it's not just about celebrating getting political independence 50 years ago. It's also about acknowledging the difficult social, spiritual, historical wounds that are still there.
Facing them head on.
Kind of, including repentance, prayer, reconciliation suggests this collective understanding that real progress needs more than just, say, economic growth or political stability. It needs healing. It needs forgiveness. It needs dealing openly with past divisions. And that Bougainville Reconciliation Day particularly, it really spotlights this ongoing internal conversation that's vital for cohesion, even while they're having this big national party. It also, quietly underscores the massive logistical and security task of running something this big for a whole year safely across the whole country.
Yeah, you can only imagine. Okay, so with all this ambition, this inclusivity, this depth, how is the PNG government actually talking about it? What's the official vibe, the narrative they want everyone to feel?
The official narrative is strongly focused on unity, pride, and progress. Very positive, very forward-looking. Government statements are quite clear. This is not just a government event. It's a national celebration for all our people.
For everyone.
Yes. They've even said the 50th should be the mother of all celebrations. So, high expectations. The main themes being pushed are reflection, yes, but mostly immense pride and unity, framing the last 50 years as proof of the people's perseverance, their determination.
Right.
It's explicitly called a call to unity, patriotism, and progress. The aim seems to be showcasing PNG's strength, its resolve to itself and to the world.
It sounds like a really powerful, very intentional message, collective achievement, looking ahead. But how tough is it, do you think, for the government to actually shape that kind of single, cohesive story across such a diverse place, especially with international guests coming who might be looking for that unified message?
Oh, it's incredibly challenging, but it's also, strategically vital for them. The government is actively working to craft this narrative, to build that collective identity, that national pride, both inside PNG and for the outside world. For a nation with so many distinct cultural identities, the trick is creating a unifying umbrella, a framework that allows all the local variations, but still reinforces the idea of one PNG.
A balancing act.
Totally. And when international leaders show up and the government says they expect many, that narrative becomes even more important. It's about showing a competent, stable, forward-looking Papua New Guinea to the world, signaling maturity, rich culture, commitment to a shared future. It's a very delicate dance, celebrating all the distinct parts while promoting the whole.
Okay, now it's really important for you listening to know that while these celebrations are clearly going to be grand and the official story is all about unity and pride, our sources also point out that there's a wider conversation happening, a very real one. This isn't just, universally cheered on without any questions asked.
No, that's rarely the case with big national projects.
Exactly. There's public debate about the sheer cost involved and about the nation's priorities right now, especially around the Jubilee spending. We've seen reports, for instance, of some MPs raising concerns, worries about diverting funds that are maybe needed for essential services, healthcare, schools, basic infrastructure toward these big celebrations. Now, just to be clear, this isn't the government's official position, obviously, but it's definitely part of the current picture, part of the context for this massive national event.
And this brings us right to that fundamental tension, doesn't it? The one that pretty much every developing nation wrestles with when they plan these huge, symbolic national events. It really poses that critical question about balance. How does a nation balance making these grand statements, which are important for identity, for international standing, with meeting the immediate, often pressing needs of its citizens?
The tangible versus the intangible.
Yeah, precisely. These debates aren't unique to PNG at all. They happen everywhere, especially in countries focused on development. On one side, you have the intangible benefits of national pride, unity, global recognition. On the other, the very real, immediate needs for things like clean water, roads, hospitals. Understanding that both these viewpoints exist is crucial, I think. It gives you a much fuller, more nuanced understanding of the country's priorities, the debates happening within society, and the tough trade-offs involved in building a nation. It's a whole conversation about what progress actually looks like.
That's a really insightful way to put it, that inherent tension. Okay, so tying things together then, what does this all mean? Well, you should now have a pretty comprehensive and hopefully nuanced grasp of what's gearing up to be a truly huge period for Papua New Guinea. We've gone through the ambitious year-long time frame, the core theme, celebrate our history, inspire our future, and the incredibly detailed, inclusive program that spans from the national level right down to the very local. We've looked at that official message of unity and pride, but we've also acknowledged the vital public discussion around the costs and the wider priorities. It's set to be an incredible display of identity, of aspiration, and really of the ongoing journey of a nation figuring itself out.
Indeed. And maybe this deep dive into PNG's Golden Jubilee leaves us with a final thought to chew on, In a country defined by such extraordinary diversity, constantly juggling tradition and modernity, how do celebrations like this truly capture not just the achievements, but also that ongoing struggle, that journey to weave all those distinct identities into one national fabric, while navigating all the challenges of progress here in the 21st century? It really offers a fascinating glimpse into the messy, dynamic, vital process of nation building today.